don't use AI if you don't know how to do the thing in the first place, because it can literally just be giving you wrong answers and you would literally never know. And now you look like an idiot in front of your client.
That's so good.
So
tired of your agency running you instead of the other way around? What if you could boost your profits while keeping your team front and center and rediscover the drive that got you started in the first place? Agency Builders is where agency leaders come together to scale up without burning out. Whether you want more freedom, higher profits, a clear sense of purpose, this community offers the peers, events, and support that you need. Agency life is tough, but it's easier when you're not doing it alone. Check out agencybuilders.com to join the community and explore upcoming events, including the 4th annual Agency Builders Retreat in St. Augustine, Florida, March 2025. Visit agencybuilders.com to learn more and join today. Welcome to another episode of Agency Insider. Today, our guest is Jack Foley, the president of RevDrive. Welcome to our show today, man. So happy that you could join us.
thanks, Ryan.
Well, man, today we're gonna just be unpacking what is RevDrive. We want to better understand what RevDrive is, what you guys actually do. I was actually checking out your website. Just first of all, killer website. Love the user interface. It's just a great experience that I had there. It's just really cool to see what you're doing, and I'm really excited to highlight some of the things that you offer. It's in today's generation, we see the great need for what you're providing, and also, Jack, as I was mentioning before the call, is our desire, man, is to really reach other agency owners, people that are in the grime every single day. Some are just, they're just starting. Some haven't even started, right? They're in that kind of initial phase of like, do I take that next step? And then there's others, probably like yourself, that are just absolutely killing it. And we want to get this full spectrum and bring these agency owners into one place. This is why this podcast exists. And so today, man, if you don't mind, I want to pick your brain. I got some questions that I have for you. But before, I just want you to introduce yourself, kind of let people know who you are, what it is that RevDrive offers to its customers, man. I'd love to hear a little bit more and let the people know a little bit about what you do.
Yeah. Well, thanks, Ryan. I'm really excited to break things down today. So, this could be really heavy sales focus, because that's where it all starts.
Come on.
But my name is Jack Foley. I'm the president of RevDrive. We're part of a larger lead generation agency called Mint Leads, and we're actually, I think, 5,000's fastest growing company in all of Georgia. And it's super great to be a part of this team. And really, when it comes down to how it all started, is we're actually missing out on the small to mid market with our larger offer. So when I joined the company, that's what I went and did, and I created RevDrive, and we've since scaled it to where it is now, and we work with the likes of Ryan and others, and it's really agency focused. About 80% of our clients are all consulting companies, marketing agencies, something along those lines, and it's all in the B2B space. That's what we've become experts in. So.
Mm-hmm. That is incredible. So so what I'm seeing here, because I'm checking out your website, look, guys, if you are needing this service, check it out, revdrive.co. And so what I'm seeing here is basically what you guys do is you optimize and you deliver your email campaigns on scale. And so we'll talk a little bit more about that, but like when you're talking about on scale, you're talking about just grow, is it like mid-sized companies that come in, or like smaller companies? Like, do you guys serve all types of people?
Yeah. So we've got everywhere from one person companies that are just trying to find a handful of clients, and we help them facilitate that. And then we have some clients that we're feeding a sales team.
Wow.
And it's everywhere in between. Yeah. And it's really, it's important to have email outbound today. It's omni-channel is really what you want, but it can all start with email, because it is a volume game, and you have to be able to do that.
And it's something that's not going away. It's not going away. Yeah. It's there. You need it. So guys, if you're just in the entry point and you're not thinking that this is really important, Jack and I will both tell you it is super important. Maybe you're an agency owner and you're not sure if you need to get started with this or offer this to your customers. Hey, I'll do the first plug. All right, Jack. This is where we need to be. We need to be turning
Yep.
emails into handshakes. I love that phrase. So, man, tell me how how did you get started? Like, let's just. I mean, I know that's a really huge question, right? And that could go on for
Very
days,
vague.
but tell us a little bit, okay, man, about the genesis of your agency. Like, how did this all begin? I know you kind of mentioned briefly before the
Yeah.
call, we were kind of talking about it, but yeah, just kind of bring us in, like the beginning phases.
Yeah. So, I mean, I come from a kind of startup background. When I first joined the parent company, it was really to help scale our sales systems over there. And RevDrive almost started as a pet project. See what we can do to capture a part of the market that we weren't capturing before. Because being a part of that sales process, obviously listening to sales calls of our sales agents, a lot of the objections were, this is too expensive for us. It's like, ooh, okay.
Okay, there's some negative.
We're sending out almost 15,000 emails a month just for our own top line funnel to feed our sales guys. And there is about 30% of those calls that were saying, oh, can't do it, too expensive.
Wow.
And
Okay.
so it's like, okay, well, what if we can set up a redirect and we have a smaller sub agency that's a part of the larger company that can use some of the back end, but is highly optimized, high margin, and we work to basically bring those leads over, and it's a part of the funnel. And so that's where it all started. Started with me taking some of those conversations, and I got the first about 8-10 clients. Then I started hiring a team for it.
Come on, man.
So
Hitting the ground running.
The biggest thing, I mean, I would take almost, say almost like 30 hours of sales calls a week,
Oh my goodness.
for about 2 months. And I was just hammering it, trying to get as much as I could, to get us a solid, steady foundation, and then figuring everything out afterwards. I know that sounds like kind of shooting from the hip, but you almost have to do that in terms of like, you have to make sure you have the top line growth in order to support anything else you're doing.
Hey, that's solid, man. It's wise.
Yeah, like but that's generally how we started, as a way to capture those leads leaving our funnel, from our main offer, and to actually provide something in a kind of a sandbox, to try different things in the email world, and it's now scaled to where it is now. So
Wow, that's incredible. So you go from you to now, how many people are working with you?
directly, there's about 10 of us on the team. And then we also share some of the teams that are across the larger organization. So
That's incredible. That's incredible, man. So
Yeah.
that kind of follows through with the next question that I have for you that probably people are curious about is, can you tell me, Jack, what was the one thing or the things that you did that took your business to the next level? I mean, was there maybe a specific moment, maybe there was a problem,
Yeah.
opportunity, decision that served kind of like as a catalyst for you to take you to the next level?
Yeah, the biggest thing, especially in terms of like a catalyst to that growth, is it's got to be focusing on sales but still being human. So that's where our ticket price is $2,000 a month, right, for our lower package, and it wasn't always that. We started much lower. But the thing is that like I'd talk to some startups that maybe only had 1,000 a month. And I would be, I always use the term like run at margin. I would literally because I saw potential in what they were selling. And I knew that if there's actual email volume behind this, based off of my experience, what I've seen, we could probably be pretty successful here. And so it's always okay to kind of, when you're first making these deals, your first few sales, it's kind of whatever works. Because you need to get money in the door to do the rest of the things you need to do.
Keep the machine running.
So like our first deal was $1,000 a month for 4 months. Small compared to what we do now, but it was the first deal in the door, and we learned so much. And then we just kind of continuously raised prices a little bit, and we're sitting at a great spot now for our market. But you can strategize, I'm going to have this price for this type of company, and you really have no idea until you start taking calls. It's until you start actually boots on the ground talking to people, that's where you actually can start growing a great sales engine that's backed by actual real conversations you've had with people, and make sure you're human about it, right? Feel them out in terms of where they are as a business, and if you really believe in your product, but then also you believe in what they're doing, then just make a deal work. Don't be so strict to your list price.
I love that. I love that. And like you said, man, you only are able to make those high level decisions or be able to craft what really works by getting your feet on the ground. So many people want a perfect it has to be tight. It's unflexible. It has to be this way. But as you get the data, as you understand more about what your people are actually wanting, what really works, and obviously doing it in a way that doesn't kill your company and kill your operation of what you're doing, you just got to make it work. You got to make those hard decisions. That's great. And so what kind of leads me, I'm very curious about this, is what has been for you, Jack, one of the hardest things that you've had to do or your business had to overcome within this process? Because you started out strong. I mean, a lot of people don't usually start out that way, but now you're where you're at and you're doing what you're doing. But like, what are some of the things that you've had to overcome as an agency owner, someone that is as being a pioneer in this field? What have you had to overcome that you maybe other people could identify with?
Yeah, one that's specifically in the email space. I mean, it's the constant cat and mouse game between lead gen and companies like Google, right? They're the spam filters ever growing, especially with the rollout of AI across the board. But probably the biggest thing is scaling, of where you kind of have to grow your business. It starts with top line, right? So you're focused on sales, you're focused on that. But then you also have to focus as you start becoming a larger and larger company, bringing more and more clients. Some of the things you were doing manually before, you really have to figure out a way to do those automatically. Because otherwise it's just you're burning time. And so you almost have to really heavily focus on sales and also operations optimization at the same time. So that's where it was a little bit of a struggle, because it's a lot to juggle. But if you're able to do it, you don't want to go too overbearing. That's why I'm very thankful for the CEO of the parent company, Tanner Bloomer, because kind of kept me grounded. Because sometimes when you're in it, right, you're like, I need this, I need that, like I need this to be able to do that, and you'll just sink a ton of time into something that maybe only saves a little bit of your time or isn't worth it now. And so kind of the advice to overcome some of the downsides of having to scale and grow at the same time is really make sure you have some heavy hitters in your corner.
That's good, man.
Whether it's other agency owners that you're in a group with, whether it's a friend, whatever, just kind of pitch those ideas to them of what you're doing. Is that's where, like, sometimes when you're just in the sauce, you just get lost in it. And I know that's kind of a funny saying,
then you look around and you're all covered and you're like, how did I get here?
Exactly.
How do I get out of here?
So that's where it can get really, really sticky if you're constantly just head down, really only thinking within the business. Sometimes you have to think outside of the business and work on it, and having people in your corner can facilitate that.
That's so good. I love what you said, man. Surrounding yourself with those people. I think too many people, and I think that's an old way of thinking. Like, I remember my dad. My dad has his own business, and he's, he's from that generation. God, I love him. I love his entrepreneur spirit. But he comes from a generation where it's very like, I'm doing my thing, and I don't really collaborate with a lot of other people. Not that it's like a prideful. I don't know if it's bottom line pride, but I think it's just the way that that generation did it. But in today's generation, it's very collaboration oriented. And so, I totally agree with you, because as an agency owner myself, like I've seen so much power in collaboration and finding other men, other women that are doing it. Maybe they're doing it better. Maybe they're just starting out, whatever it may be. Usually I try to find people that are already doing it at that level, but like surrounding yourself with those people, it's one, it's positive because you find out you're not doing it alone. And second of all, like you can get some really incredible insight. Especially for maybe people that have gone before and they're much larger, or they've been able to scale their business in a different way. So that's awesome. So I want to ask you, because we are moving into an era that I think you and I both know. It's like in the AI driven era, there's so many concerns, but there's also a lot of possibilities out there. And I want to ask you is like, what do you see in the world today that gives you excitement for what you're doing, for your business, for what you're trying to accomplish with RevDrive?
I'd say honestly, people still like the human factor. Even though everyone's trying to push towards AI and automating everything. And there's, to a certain extent, that's fine. In the lead gen space, there's people like RevDrive and our parent company Mint Leads, and then there's very quick turnaround shops that basically will just kind of promise you crazy numbers and just go, and they kind of cut corners, and AI is one of those corners that they use, and it kind of shows, but people are very gung-ho to just kind of have ChatGPT, for example, write everything. And it still really isn't at the point to where you can actually use it to fully run systems, but you can certainly use it to augment what you're doing.
Exactly.
So like an example of what we're doing for our clients, and this kind of goes back to the optimization of our operations, for inbox management. We actually have an entire system that runs sentiment analysis on every single incoming email. And so now, instead of having our inbox manager go through the thousands of replies every day, that could be the FUs and the no thank yous and the unsubscribes.
Where
and
did you
then
get this email?
the golden, and then the golden, yes, I'd love to learn more. It's filtering all of those out, and it's augmenting our inbox management system to where now our inbox manager can spend, and that team can spend much more time on the emails that actually matter. And so, because we have a human replying to emails and not AI. So that's the part where like it can actually start playing into your business, whether it's, let's just say you're a marketing agency and you can use it to help you do research into prospective like markets, things like that. But you don't want it always writing the copy, because hello, you're a marketing agency owner, and probably at some point you're going to be doing a lot of the marketing yourself for those first initial clients, and you should know how to do it from scratch before you kind of do it using AI. Because otherwise you have no idea what the quality mark is.
That's so good.
I could go ask ChatGPT 4.0 right now, brand new model, write me an email sequence. And I'm telling you, compared to what our human copywriters do and output based off of their experience in PR, marketing industries, all that type of stuff, and their just like writing experience overall, it just doesn't even compare.
It doesn't even compare.
Because it's just, but for most, it would look, oh yeah, this is a perfect email sequence, but it's not. It's quite opposite.
That's so good to hear.
Because there's a lot more that goes into it. That AI just doesn't have visibility into these days. So
that's good. And so what would be your kind of encouraging words to those who are I guess what would be your words of wisdom? The wisdom of Jack Foley. Here we go. What would be kind of your wisdom that you could impart to agency owners that are wanting to heavily lean on AI kind of as a crutch? What would you say to those people?
Do yourself before you have the AI do it.
Love it, man.
Mainly so you can properly engineer prompts to do it based off of your experience.
Yep.
It's like, for example, in grade school, the math teacher didn't let you use a calculator until you knew how to actually do it manually by writing it and doing the long division yourself.
Yep.
So it's the same way. Don't use AI if you don't know how to do the thing in the first place, because it can literally just be giving you wrong answers and you would literally never know. And now you look like an idiot in front of your client.
That's so good.
So
cut corners now, you're probably going to suffer in the future for it. It will catch up to you. AI will catch up to you if you're not knowledgeable about it already. That's really wise words, man. I appreciate you giving some more insight into that. Well, I want to ask you this question. What's your long-term goal? What is in store for RevDrive? Where do you guys see this going? And how does this, I guess, play more into your personal goals? Because I think this is, with what we're doing here for the podcast, we're not just, wanting to only highlight the company. We also want to get to know the individual that's behind that company, bring some, some real life, connection to it. So I'll ask, like, what is RevDrive's vision for the future, and what is Jack Foley's vision for the future? I know that they run very close together, and that's fine. They can overlap. I'm just curious. So give me those two, RevDrive and Jack Foley's vision for the future.
Yeah. So, I mean, the big part about RevDrive is we're pretty close to hitting the 1 million ARR mark, which is great. We've done that in almost a year, which is insane. But generally, the kind of goal for RevDrive is to be a kind of innovator internally within the main business, where a lot of new processes, a lot of new systems are always built out within RevDrive and then scaled to the larger organization. For some context for those listening, we have about 250 combined clients across the board, and we send about 1.5 million emails a month.
Congratulations, man.
So
that's incredible.
We're going crazy, and there's a lot of moving parts, and it's really hard to kind of switch out a part of the system if it hasn't been tested before and hasn't been scaled and properly operated. And that's where RevDrive is, and it's going to continue to be. We've got an entire sales motion over there, which is great. I love our team. They're heavy workers, and I enjoy every single moment I get to spend with them. And so it kind of operates by itself now. And that was its general goal, to where then we can put strategically some projects in there, and we can scale it along the way. And then internally with me, it's wherever it takes me. In terms of within Mint Leads, it is doing it again, but with a few different offers, to where now we have a few different business units within the larger company that are all agencies on their own, but are essentially just printing cash. And that's the way to kind of diversify your larger agency, is by spinning out these other offerings and scaling teams with them. And it's very hard. Like, not every agency is going to be able to scale to what we've done. But it's important to be human about it. Find the right people, get the right people in your corner, and then you can figure everything out afterwards. So I couldn't do it without everyone else that's here in the office. And so it's great.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Jack, for just sharing that vision. I know, at you as a president, as you're a pioneer in this, it's always good to hear that. Sometimes you even have to hear yourself say it out loud and just repeat it over and over again, especially when those hard moments come and things don't look so bright. I think I really believe it's that vision that pushes us as entrepreneurs, as pioneers in these different niches and different markets. It just pushes us along. It's that wind to our sail. And so I always I love asking that question, because we all need to hear it. We need to hear it ourselves, but we need to let other people hear that vision so they can also be inspired. I think it's so important for today's generation. Well, Jack, how can people get to know more about RevDrive? What is it that they need to do if they like are curious about, turning emails into handshakes? I absolutely love that phrase, by the way. It's so nice. What can people do? So kind of let us know, how can people get a hold of you or get a hold of the company per se, so that maybe they could book a call.
Yeah, easiest way is to go to revdrive.co. So it's RevDrive.co. And we have multiple ways to book a call there. You can call us on the phone, and or you can just email me, jackf@revdrive.co, and I'll go ahead and set up a conversation, because we love to have new agencies join us. That's where we shine and where we've been scaling. And we always welcome more into the door. So
awesome,
you'll
man.
get to meet my great team.
Well, thank you so much, Jack. Thank you so much for joining and for giving of your time. I know your time is valuable.
Yeah.
I know it's you're doing a lot of things, and but it's just so nice that we were able to get a few moments of your time and be able to better understand what it is that you're doing, some of the things that you've been through, and our desire here at Agency Insider, this podcast, is to begin to highlight that more than ever, so that people don't feel alone, they get inspired, and they can know more about what's going out there with on the market with different agencies. So thank you so much again, Jack, for your time, and we look forward to seeing what comes out of RevDrive here in the next few months and the years to come. I'm sure it's going to be incredible, man.
Yeah, thanks, Ryan. I mean, hey, it all starts with sales.
There it is, man.
You got to make sure you have a proper sales funnel. You can only grow your agency so far off of referrals, and it's not something you can rely on forever. So while you have the cash flow, invest in the future of your sales funnel. And it's basic sales hygiene. You have to do it. It's just like going to the dentist every year. You got to make sure you do it, whether it's through an agency like RevDrive, or it's doing it yourself. Focus on sales. Everything else will come afterwards.
I love that. From the words of Jack himself, guys. It's just like the dentist. Everybody has to do it, so just do it. Get in contact with RevDrive.co. Go to RevDrive.co today and book a call with them. I'm sure you will not be disappointed. All right, guys. Well, until the next episode, we can't wait for the next guest that we have. We look forward to spending some more time with some agency owners out there. Talk to you later.